the Tischler here. In this video, we're going to watch a lesson with a player who has very open hips at impact and struggles with linking up and matching up. He gets his arms stuck behind his body, gets the classic blocks and hooks, but then when we get him linked up nicely, he can actually control his start line and his curvature really well.
Okay, so good flexion and stay closed. Like, I don't want to use all that rotation you have, but I want to use it at the right time.
Yeah.
Not early.
So try to do that.
I'd love to see you actually get to the point that you have overdone flexion and closed. Because that is a very easy thing to clean up if you ever get there.
Okay. That makes you feel better about trying to do
Yeah, just pour it on. Don't be afraid of it.
In this next swing, he did a really good job of creating more flexion. It was actually more closed than what he had been. Because he was trying to eliminate the hooks and the blocks, he was trying to swing more left, which actually got him opening his shoulders early and getting the club outside early, and then he just started swiping the ball. In this particular swing, we can see that at least he's got the club on his lead arm coming down, where it was actually outside the arm coming down before he tried to make the flexion and staying closed feel in the transition.
Yeah, so you assessed that one that time.
Yeah, it definitely felt like I don't think I had enough, but I think I had a lot there.
Yep, a lot more than you have been having.
And then I definitely held off a lot.
Right, exactly. So, like, that's why the next step, when you feel like you're getting comfortable with the flexion and the close, is start releasing it and see where it goes.
Okay.
Because then when you're releasing it good, you can see how aligned you are coming into impact, right? Because if you release it good and it still pulls, then you're not staying closed long enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you release it good and it's just holding the correct line, well, then where we want to be.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
In this next swing, he improved the flexion and staying closed longer, and we can see that the club is coming down slotted just a little bit more inside where it was on the last swing. He still gets a little bit to the outside of what his pattern should be, and in doing so, he's going to get a pull pattern. So if he releases it really well, it's a straight pull. If he closes it a little early, he can get a little pull draw, and if he holds on to it, it's a little bit of a pull cut. But still, this is improvement from where we started.
See, that one you released, right?
Yeah.
And we still got a little pull.
Yeah.
Now we can see the club coming down through the shoulder and more splitting the arms. I'd like to see it split the arms a bit more equally. But now we can see it's just on the outside edge of where we'd want him to be.
But again, it was a little bit of a pull where it started, which means you just didn't stay closed enough as you were flexing. Like, the flexing may have been good enough, but the closed wasn't good enough. Okay? This is the old back to the target. You know, I'm sure you've seen the video of Justin Rose. You know, it went around a few years ago. I got it in my phone.
Well, I've seen the Bryson one where he's like, I turn and then
stay closed and get
close as I can, and once I'm here,
get in the pocket, then go. That's what I want you to do, right? Yeah, Justin Rose was, I'm on my back and my butter to the target as my left arm is sliding down. And once my hands get down here, then I can rotate. But they both are showing how close they're trying to stay. Look at Rory's swing. When, Rory coming down, he looks shut.
Yeah.
He does not look like he's trying to open up. One of the faster hip players on tour. But because he's such a fast hip player, he's got to stay shut longer than most.
Yeah.
Because when he goes, he's going to go. Right?
So that's kind of like Scotty too, right?
Exactly.
Like he stays so long
and then go. I mean, you're going to use that hip speed that you have, but you got to wait until it's the right time, which means you got to be flexed and closed long enough that then you're using it.
So you're kind of flexing right into your left hip.
Yeah. Now that's a good question because it depends on the player. So like me, when I actually flex, I flex into both legs. I square up on the platform. I push with both legs.
Yeah.
Fred Couples is into his left leg, and you can see it in his swing. He's kind of left the right side out of it, right? Yeah. But Brooks Koepka, is into his right leg, and you can see he's really pushing with his right leg. Rory pushes hard with his right leg.
Okay.
So if whatever leg you're going to push with, 1, 2, or both, you got to be into the hip that you're going to push with. So if you're pushing with both legs, then you're into both hips. So I wouldn't say, everyone's trying to get too far forward in my opinion. But now it's like, oh, you got to get into your left side like that so that you can push like that. Well, there's so many people that's a bad way for them to do it. So in your case, I want you to feel athletic dynamic. When I say keep your back to target flex, you flex into the strongest position. Not I'm supposed to flex over here. You see what I'm saying? Wherever your strongest athletic flex position is correct for you. All right?
So as his flexion and transition continues to improve, he's got to learn to keep his rear end or his back to the target longer, which allows him to slot it from the inside better. In this particular swing, he does a good job initially in the transition. We can see he starts to split the trail shoulder with the shaft in the downswing. However, when he gets to delivery, he's still much closer to his lead arm coming down instead of between the arms. And that particular alignment is going to lead to, solid pulls or even sort of a little bit of pull swipe. So as we can see, as he's reaching delivery here, the shaft is closer to the lead arm. I'd like to see it more between the arms at this particular point.
So I like that fade. And my response to it's a little bit of a pull fade would be play that for a while. Like you're going to get it, so just play it. Train to keep improving, stay closed, flex longer to start it on a better line. But in the short term, play that. That's better than what you've been doing, isn't it?
That's way better.
Now, they climb a little too much for you. They should be more, they used to be more penetrating. Okay? And they climb for you because your release, that's comfortable, isn't it? Okay? And your release should be more like Tiger's. There are people that release this way, but those people are so in this way coming in that when they go this way, it's still a bullet. You know what I'm saying? But you're coming in, you don't want to come in that shut like that. So let it come down. That's comfortable for you. If that's comfortable and then you go this way, you see how that always should be? So if you're coming in this way, that's comfortable for you, which is fine. You have to release it that way.
Kind of like toe down.
It is a little toe down, isn't it? Yeah. And go watch Tiger's release, because Tiger, like in his heyday release, they look like that. They didn't look like this. Okay?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
As he starts to slot the swing better, the next thing I wanted to add in is just a stronger release, a better release. So the three things he wants to put together is good flexion and transition, staying closed longer, and then really using the release. When he was outside and swinging left too much, he had to hold off the release, delay the release just to cut it back in play. But as he's slotting it better, now he can actually start releasing it better. And the better he releases it, then the more he knows whether he's actually kept his back to the target long enough, so it stayed closed long enough, and slotted the club properly in the downswing.
So I like that release because it was more penetrating. Obviously, I don't like the sequencing.
Now we can see that he stayed closed long enough to get the shaft more through his shoulder and between the arms in the downswing up to delivery. And from there, he was able to achieve a better release, almost feeling like he's towing the club through in the start direction. Now we can see the club face releasing through the way we demonstrated earlier when we were talking about Tiger's release. In this next swing, he was focusing more on the release pattern. He still got his flexion, didn't quite stay closed long enough. He got a really, really strong release. And so it shows me that he is really getting a good understanding of what a good release feel was. And then we just need to get it all packaged up with the proper amount of flexion, staying closed long enough so it's slotted from the right direction so that he can actually release it and start the ball in the intended start direction. But we're getting a lot closer here. He just reverted a little bit as far as the club getting closer to the trail arm in the down.
Yeah, that was more flex, toe down release finish. I like that.
So as he's getting close to delivery, we can see that the club's a little closer to the lead arm. We'd like to split the arms a little bit more. However, on the way through, he really got that nice strong release. And this just turned it into nice solid pull, very playable pull. And then we can see the exit here. Beautiful exit, nice stable club face during the exit. In this particular swing, we're going to see that he does a great job of creating the flexion, the transition, staying closed enough to really get the club slotted properly. The release wasn't quite covered enough to really get the trajectory that we were looking for. It's a little bit more of his older comfortable release when he was outside and swinging across it a little bit more. But still, this was a really good package, getting really close to ideally what we want him to do. And we can see he's getting more and more comfortable with the flexion, staying closed, and slotting.
So I really like that in the sense that really good flexion, close, arms got down in front, a little bit more of your comfortable release that time. Yeah. So it climbed a little bit. Yeah. But that's getting in a good window now, isn't it? Yeah. And if we can tweak the release to be the cover release with that same synchronization, we got something.
Up to this point in the lesson, this was the best slotted swing he'd made so far, but then we can see the face was a little bit more lofted during release. And then during the exit, we can see the face is a little more open than I'd like to see, a little too square the arc. I'd like to see it close down just a little bit. On this next swing, we can see once again that he's getting closer and closer to improving the transition, creating the flexion, staying closed long enough to slot it really well, and to get his arms what we call more down in front. The feeling of down in front is really that he's trying to get his hands more in front of his right pocket as they're moving through the ball. He is a rear linkage golfer, so his hands are going to be around his right hip or his right pocket during delivery. But once again, he did a really good job of improving here.
Really good.
As the lesson continues, he's getting more and more comfortable with the flexion, staying closed longer and slotting it. Even the worst ones were just, a little bit towards the lead arm side of middle of the arms when the club was halfway down, splitting the arms. And the club face is getting in a stronger position. He's releasing it better. He's getting slight pulls right now, whether it's a little pull or a little pull fade, doesn't really matter. He can play really good golf doing that.
Yeah, and notice how even though those last two are slight pulls, there's so much smaller pulls than the other ones were, right? Yeah.
Once again, we can see he's transitioning through his shoulder, keeping the shaft more between the arms as he's moving into delivery. A little closer to the lead arm than we'd like to see, more in the middle of the arms. But once again, that club face is in a stronger position. He's releasing it better. It's holding the line better. It's more penetrating. They're not climbing and spinny. So he's really improving everything at this point. We can see in the exit now that club face is starting to turn towards the plane a little bit. Don't actually want it on plane when we first see it in the exit, but later in the fall through we can see it's much more on plane. In this next swing, he softened his focus just a little bit, got a little bit of revert, but there's still a lot of good going on here. So he's still moving things in the right direction. He's still working with the right feels. Just remember when you're making changes, and sometimes changes are hard, they come a little bit slower than you want. You're going to get a lot of good shots as you're making the changes, but you're going to get some reverts also. As long as those reverts are acceptable misses, you're doing just fine.
But there's a lot of good in that. The reality is it's just not start direction.
Yeah.
Well, my start direction's over there. How do I move it to here? Like, if whatever my body's doing to start it there, I gotta orient it that much more in this direction, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You just gotta, I know it does consciously. We're trying to convince your subconscious mind to go with this now, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the lesson, we see him packaging it up better and better. He's having a higher percentage of swings where he's flexing well, staying closed long enough, getting it slotted between his arms, and delivering it with a really good release. When you get the right information for your specific matchups, and you get the feelings that go along with them, you're going to notice a lot more repeatability in your practice.
Yes, way better.
That felt like an old swing.
As you just heard him say, that felt like an old swing. Now you can see we've got them dialed back in and on track. Golfers often get the proper feels and the proper matchups, and they play good for a while, and then they lose them, and then they get the wrong information about how to get things back on track, and they struggle for a while. But getting right back to the proper matchups and getting right back to the proper feels allow you to get right back on track. With this swing again, it was another one of those swings that felt like an old swing to him. He really feels like he's back on track. Now we can see the shaft is splitting his arms and the trail shoulder at the end of the transition. Moving into delivery, the shaft is deeper between his arms. As he moves into impact, he's releasing it and squaring the face a lot better. Then through the ball, we can see the face is in a stronger position, sort of the toes pointing at the ball flight. And as he goes through, the arms are actually disappearing in front of him a little bit sooner than they used to. He's exiting it well with a nice stable club face, but closed enough at this point as well. He's released it on plane as he continues to follow through.
So you have enough now. You know what you need to work on. The areas of the swing, being, okay, more flexion at address. What's the proper flexed and closed coming down? And that allows your arms to get in front, which is what you've been trying to do, right? From there, how do I get to good release? And release means my posture is releasing too. So your hips are spinning and you're posturing up as you're pointing the club there, toe down, cover feel, right? It's really the toe down release part first, and then the work the cover feel in there to get the trajectory down. Okay. Right? And if you stay flexed and closed long enough, you can start it where you want to. And now, when you're breathing really well as you do this, your start line improves. Right. And it does move to the right, and it doesn't curve as much. Those are all good things.
Yeah.
Right? Good feel for how to work on that?
Yeah, no, that.
Excellent.
I'm feeling a lot better at the
Good.
Let's recap by
even that's
doing a
better.
couple of the early swings. Now, we've actually already made a couple of changes at this point, so they're not quite as extreme as they were before I came over to work with him. But we can still see that he actually spins a little bit early, gets outside a little bit early. He's swinging a little bit too far left, and at this point in time, he's really getting sort of swipey, spinny, fades. And if he releases one, it gets a hard pull draw. So he knew that he needed to make some adjustments to get back to his matchups. So it's actually why he called me over for the lesson this day. He's a good player, low handicap. As you can see, he's got lots of speed and lots of potential. But like many golfers that have fast tips, he has that tendency to get stuck behind himself, and then he gets blocks and hooks when he's doing that. And to try to solve that, you can overcompensate and start to get outside too much. And when you get outside too much and you start swinging too far left, you start to get those swipey shots now. So, which you can play them, but they certainly aren't that desirable. So again, the solution is let's make sure that we get back to the proper matchups that work for the individual. So now we can see he's much more, this is the early swing coming down on the lead arm from the outside. The club gets outside really early. He's going to start swinging left and really opening the face and trying to cut it back, which created really kind of climby, spinny type shots. Again, that face for him is a little too open, even though that would work for a lot of other players. Now we can compare those two swings to two of the swings that were matched up a lot better later in the lesson. And again, we can see he improves his flexion. We improve staying closed long enough that he really gets that club slotted a lot better, coming down through the shoulder and splitting the arms in the downswing. And then from there, he's able to pour on the release a little bit more, get a more confident release where he feels like he's covering it a little bit more and he's getting more penetrating ball flight instead of that sort of scoopy, spinny ball flight. And here we go with one more swing. So once again, really doing a good job of creating the flexion, staying closed long enough, slotting the club a lot better in the downswing, and then learning to pour on that release that gets him a more, authoritative ball flight. When he's swinging this way, it's really a lot of fun to watch because he's got a lot of talent. And, of course, it's a lot of fun for him as well because he feels like he's got a lot more control over his ball flight. In the final comparison, we can see now the shaft is splitting his trail shoulder and right between his arms. As he comes into delivery, once again, that shaft is deeper between his arms. Coming into impact, he's a lot more stable. He's really linked up right well in his pocket right now. Then he's releasing it through the toes pointing in the start direction, and the ball's going there as well. The club is actually moving around in front of his body a lot sooner now. and he's exiting well with a nice strong release but a stable club face, and then it continues to release in the follow through more on plane as he continues to finish.